Welcome back to the Sports Recap. Today we have a lot of news, so I'm going to try and get through this pretty quickly. Starting out in the NFL, there's lots of new coaching news. The Bears have signed their new head coach, former Colts defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, as well as a new GM, Ryan Poles, which means though Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace are gone, their GM and head coach's names are still Ryan and Matt. Next, the Jaguars are likely closing in on a deal with their former quarterback Byron Leftwich to become their new head coach. Over in Denver, the Broncos have hired former Green Bay offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett to be their head coach. Now in Minnesota, the Vikings have hired Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah as their new GM. And now that most of the other coaching news has been covered, I can talk about the big coaching story. Saints head coach Sean Payton has retired from his position with the team. Payton still had 3 years remaining on his deal, but decided to step away to spend time with his family. He did not rule out the possibility of being involved with the NFL at some point in the future in some sort of way, including possibly even coaching again. Next in the NFL, probably the biggest story this week, the San Francisco 49ers upset the Packers 13-10, which, by the way, although I didn't make a video on this channel about it, I predicted a 49ers victory this weekend, as well as a Rams, Bengals, and Chiefs victory, which means I went 4-0 this weekend. But besides that, this brings back to light what was probably the biggest story this last offseason, which is what is going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. Well, according to Rodgers himself, it doesn't look too good for the Packers. The reigning NFL MVP says he doesn't want to be a part of another rebuilding process, which I can interpret in two ways. Number one could be that he is implying that the Packers need to go into rebuild mode. Devontae Adams, as well as tons of other Packers players, are free agents this offseason, and their special teams was ranked 32nd in the league this year, which is the exact reason that they lost to the 49ers. Those things, along with the high likelihood of some coaching changes in Green Bay, specifically the special teams coach, who will likely be fired if he hasn't already by the time that I recorded this video, and the fact that I talked about earlier of their former offensive coordinator going to Denver, it's not that far-fetched to believe that Rodgers would see Green Bay as a rebuilding organization. The second way that I can interpret this is that Rodgers doesn't want to leave to an outside team that is rebuilding, which means his mind is already made up. He's decided to leave Green Bay and is just trying to narrow it down to the best win-now situation for himself. And before you go saying, Green Bay is the best win-now situation, we've just seen this to be not the case last weekend. What this sounds like to me is Aaron laying out the groundwork leading up to his decision to go to one of three teams, either the Broncos, the Colts, or the Steelers. And now that that's covered, it's time for the quick news, which is just the less notable stories from all the leagues. Sticking with the NFL to start, the Eagles could target DJ Chark this offseason in free agency, which would be good for them. They really need receivers out there. Also, this offseason, expect the Chiefs to pursue either OBJ, Juju Smith-Schuster, or both of them. Over in New York, the Giants' new GM wants to keep Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback. Now in the NBA, James Harden is reportedly unhappy in Brooklyn. And also in the NBA All-Star starters have been announced. The big surprise to everyone is that Andrew Wiggins was announced as a starter for the Western Conference, which I don't like because I think Brandon Ingram deserves it more than him. And finally, the Knicks could be open to trading Julius Randle for the right deal. That's going to be it for this week. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.